Welcome everyone. Welcome to Drakenmemoria. For those of you wondering what this is, well, it's Dungeons and Dragons, or more specifically, a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. And yes, speaking of people, there is one less. I don't want to say people again, but hey, there's one less person in the group tonight, but it's not going to be for the entire night. He said that he was just going to be late, probably going to arrive during the second half of the episode because of work-related schedule conflict. But hey, that's the only bad news that we have tonight so far, so that's not so bad. So for all of you who want to be here tonight, watching Dungeons and Dragons, having fun with us, both maybe, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. We hope you are well seated, that you have something to drink, maybe even something to eat. That's what's missing. No one's eating anything.
No, no. I got an entire pizza here next to me.
Oh, goodness. Don't
right. Worry about it.
I mean, I got some carpet down here.
Fiber.
Good. We're saved. Everything's gonna go well tonight. So, so hope you're well seated because last episode
somebody died.
And got brought back to life. But you know, that's what happens in Dungeons and Dragons. Players keep dying and getting resurrected, and they never show any signs of it. It's just, it's fine. But yeah, the party decided that it was time to finish their quest. Go in the middle of this monastery, dwarven monastery, killed a creature there. They fought with a black pudding, which was surprisingly easy, thanks to 2 natural ones in a row. But hey, it worked.
I can't help but detect a little bit of bitterness there.
Well, it's it feels less frustrating when the players kill a monster that you give them because they have 2 critical strike, than when you rolled 2 natural ones. But hey, it happens, and so because of that, they lost so much less resources and went into a room with an avatar of a god in it, and they fought it. I think there was a little bit of a wasted resources at some point, but in general, they did well. Unfortunately, one member faced death and was brought back. And the party managed to banish the evil away. They managed to injure it enough so that the spell that was holding it here started to buckle. And the avatar retreated, leaving the party victorious, well, at least for now, over this avatar. But as audience most likely know, avatar are just as vindictive as gods. So,
the real question is, what element will they be after their next reincarnation?
Yeah. But
what comes after shadow?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be light. Ooh. But hey, probably going to be something similar, Meet them again 5 levels later. They haven't leveled up. So it's going to be fine. So, this is mostly how the last episode ended. Everyone regrouped. They went outside of the temple, reunited with their garden friend, who had managed to keep the gargoyles away during the fight. They let her in. They decided that they needed to rest right now, and just so happened that in a few hours it was the normal time to rest. So why not? But meanwhile, audience decided that they needed to explore the ruins and take a bodyguard with him while everyone else was getting ready to go to bed, and Tobiyashi was eagerly preparing to climb a tower, light a beacon, and then crawl through service tunnels all the way to the exit of the city. And this is where we left the group. With that,
The party had notes.
very interesting discussion. And so, I was going to say Tobiyashi, but hey, he's not here right now. So, Jorg, audience, and Remy, as we get back into this episode. Oh, well, we're in the middle of a
We have to long rest before we can use our new abilities.
Ah, yes.
And whatnot?
As Jorg reminds me right now, I forgot to say that the party leveled up at the end of last episode, which is why Jorg is talking about the new abilities. Yes, you would need to have your long rest. Yeah, for your abilities, mostly because they're God-given, it would be a long rest. That would be enough. Same thing for audience. Remy, yeah, well, everything you did so far sort of justify you just gaining that proficiency. And Tobiyashi, was that Tobiyashi? Okay, no, he doesn't have any comment on this. He's getting ready to go to bed. I'm sorry, that was mean. For nothing. But yeah, Tobiyashi would most likely have to have a little bit of training before he can have access to all of his abilities. Although I think the only thing of Wart is his ability score improvement. So I think that's not going to be a problem to just have and have a good rest and then.
So, he also technically gets slow fall at this level.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably
Like Monk is one of those. Monk is like one of the only classes that gets something at the same level that they got their ability score increase.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. All right, so, all right, audience, you had already tried to enlist the help of Naifa for exploring the temple, but while that is happening, Jorg and Remy, what are you doing?
So, I mean, I'm not sure what Jorg is doing, but but since audience kind of mentioned it, and since they have time now, Remy is going to. I guess he'll first take time to ritually cast detect magic at various points, and he is just going to go looking around this temple to see if there's anything magical lying around. Because fuck it.
Along with audience and Naifa, or alone?
He might as well work with them. Just like basically just like they'll be just pointing out the architecture. Meanwhile, Ramey's just like digging through all the shit that was left behind.
Audience is trying to impress the girl while Remy is rummaging in the background. Yeah, all right, I get it. It's very anime style. What about you, Jorg?
And obviously, not just the magical stuff, but just anything that looks to be valuable. So,
what about you, Jorg?
Jorg. So Tobiyashi is just bedding down until he.
Yeah,
gets here.
He's unusually quiet. He's probably a little bit frustrated because his mace has been his mace head has been slightly damaged through the last few fights, and he got slightly more scared of that creature because he had a, sort of a personal experience with things relating to getting hunted. And yeah, he looks slightly traumatized right now and focused on finding stuff to make a bed because he doesn't have anything on him.
Jorg does want to go up and turn the lights on, but
it's a very long climb.
Yeah, it would be pretty handy if he could fly. But he has to sleep to learn to do that. So he's probably going to hang out with Tobiyashi for a bit.
All right.
Depending on unless too much stuff starts happening while he's trying to take a long rest, then that he will stop doing that.
All right. So chilling a little bit with Tobiyashi as he's nursing a injured psyche, and while you also are nurturing an injured psyche.
Yeah.
Close encounter with death. You have your puppy looking at you funny and seeing that you do seem to have something a little bit more dark in your in the way that you look in your eyes, and you want to be there for you.
Aw.
You just.
Thanks, puppy.
And by the way, if you go look at the description of your object at level 6, there is a slight difference.
Oh.
And your puppy also leveled up a little bit.
Ooh. Let's see.
He now knows tricks.
To sum it up briefly, I believe what is written is that on top of everything that you had, now you can also cast. Your puppy can act as a conduit when you're casting touch spell.
Ooh.
And his stats have increased a little bit.
Sorry.
That's alright. There's a pizza thief. Attack it.
There it is.
Dork has learned the find puppy spell.
Action. Nice.
Alright, and he has grown slightly. He no longer just looks like a puffball that has coordination problems. Now he seems to mostly be able to walk in a straight line. He does seem to have to spend a little bit of time hop running to catch up to you if you start walking. But he doesn't seem to mind that much.
That's good.
All right. As for audience, Remy and Naif. Well, so for Remy, I'd say it's perception. You're basically getting inside of these rooms, following audience, a few steps behind, and looking around, seeing if there's a light appearing somewhere.
And just to make sure it's thorough, and since he doesn't have to use it for anything else right now, Ramey's going to go ahead and activate the power of his lantern while he's doing so.
Okay.
Because why not?
Sure.
I like overkill. Let's see, not that one. Okay, I like that one better. That's going to be 23.
Okay. As for you, audience, what is the main focus of this? Watching for interesting architecture? Finding stuff? Or impressing Neifa as much as possible?
I mean, he was somewhat honest when he said he was looking to see if the cultists left any clues behind of, like, the summoning or where. So he would be looking for those. which I think he would include in kind of probably trying to impress Naifa. Obviously, if he finds something cool along with that, he'll pick it up. But, and then, besides that, probably just, talking with her, getting, just having a chance to talk with her more, since he hasn't really had a chance to talk with her yet.
All right. In that case, I'd say I'd give you a choice between perception and investigation for looking around, and for her, you can always do insight, because if you're trying to figure stuff out of her, you have to sort of interpret how she's going to react to whatever you're saying.
That's fair. All right. Well, audience will roll insight, and he'll tell his cat to go roll perception on things. Tell him if he finds anything. Because audience has realized already that his cat is far more effective.
Yeah.
So let's see. That's going to be a 17 for perception for my cat. And then audience insight is going to be +0. And 8. So he's not that insightful.
Okay.
However, let's see how charismatic he is. He is... Where's my charisma? It's +2. He is quite charismatic. He is 19 on charisma, 8 on insight.
All right.
Not that insightful, quite charismatic.
So you're having a whole lot of trouble getting a good feel from her, from the way that she reacts. She seems to be quite focused and nearly stone-faced. But you are managing to keep your nervousness in check. Not letting it show and just talking about, oh, look at this. It's a perfect example of dwarven architecture. The sleek lines, the majesty of it. It's...
Try to impress her by showing that I know how to read Dwarven. And this plaque over here states,
dormitory. And
East
this one here
Eggs.
is the Lathrin. Although dwarves call it slightly different.
And this word is very interesting because this one says sink, but it also can be translated as toilet.
Oh no.
So
Yep, so that's what audience is up to.
nice. That's interesting.
And his cat.
So while you are mostly focusing on Naifa and taking in the architecture of dwarves, because this remains a monastery, the version at least, the dwarven version of a monastery. So everything is quite large, and instead of having yards and cloisters, they have these incredibly large halls, easily 50 to 70 feet high columns, and so the roofs are even higher because they're all I knew I should have looked for these words. I know them in French, but domed shape. There's another word for this, but I don't know it in English. And it's actually quite breathtaking when you take a moment to look at this, as how creatures that are almost quite literally half your size manage to do this, and the walls are sleek. It's just touching them, you don't feel any bumps or anything. It feels like it was done almost molded, as if it was poured like liquid metal. Unfortunately, the cult did deface some of the statue and carving. You get the feeling that they took anything that looked like specific gems. Some of the statues, you get the feeling that some of them use them for target practice. a little bit. Although that's a bit disappointing. But all in all, there's still quite a good many statues that are intact, and carving of them is incredible. It's nearly lifelike. Just like when you entered, some of them you just want to go touch them, make sure that they're not actually a creature that's been turned to stone. But no, you can feel some of the strike, especially where it was intentionally made to have textures like boots and capes, and you get that's really made like that. And you point this out to Neifa at several points, and you hear some comments. Remy, just for fun, do an insight roll for me. Just see how you interpret this mating ritual of the Dragonborn.
Wait, is that what I think it is? All right, no. That's going to be a 19.
19. So you look at this, and you get the feeling that she's paying attention. She's honest.
That's great. That's a great opening.
She's paying attention.
She's paying attention. She's quite honest with that. But there's something in that feels a bit bored from her side of the things. As if she already seen things like that. And also things that makes all of this looks like the art of a 5-year-old human. So,
Oh no, she's being mansplained.
She's looking at this and, well, yes, this is quite impressive. I mean, these dwarves certainly must be the pinnacle of artists for this world. And she looks at the audience, and you get also the feeling that from time to time she breaks the boredom by fueling audience's interest in her. More as a playful thing to do and not a mean thing to do. You see her getting bored, and then suddenly you see audience looking right in their direction, going, "Oh, look at this! This is incredible!" And just as he turns around and start looking at her, she assumes a position as if she was stretching a little bit. That injury, it's sort of, and she rubs it, really stretching her side a whole lot, and that injury. And she just watches his reaction, slight nervous reaction, and she sort of gets a thrill from it. And then just keeps on going. He mostly moves on like this. But she doesn't seem to have any bad intentions toward the audience, any bad reactions. It just looks like, yeah, I've seen larger, bigger, better made, more impressive.
Are we still talking about the statue?
Well, that's what a few more points in insight would get you. You'd get to know if what.
I'm good, guys. I'm good.
But
Anyway,
she seems to be finding ways to have fun with all of this, and she certainly doesn't have a bad opinion of audience. Just a opinion that feels a bit like the relationship between a babysitter and a child.
So me with every single girl, basically, in my entourage.
Maybe just puts that in a mental list. Not a problem.
You do, audience, manage to find a few things that you were hoping would catch your interest. Magna points out discreetly that there's something hidden behind the desk over there. So there is a little latch that was broken. Apparently, no one found it. And just so happened that you drift toward that corner at that moment and bend over and open that latch. And oh goodness, there are 2 stones in it. 2 rough stone. They look like diamonds. Large diamond.
You have to roll deception so it doesn't see she doesn't
Large
think
diamonds.
Yeah, you find 2 large diamonds, but they're still in the rough. They haven't been cut yet. So it's
Okay, so they're not shiny.
No, they're
How
not
shiny?
shiny, but they're of a decent size. You'd say that okay, that if finding a gem cutter, that probably would be too interestingly priced gem.
I'll still give one to Raimi, even though they're not shiny.
So
I'll be like Raimi. Rocks. They're not shiny, but I know you like them, and you could make them shiny if you find a jeweler. So they're quite large though. So here's one of them.
So it's a decent size. So each one of you have 1 rough diamond, which coincidentally, if they're cut, you will realize that they are several hundred gold piece each.
Raimi sees the shiny diamond inside, rather than the form it is currently in.
And you've seen those diamonds in displays, and diamonds like this, you've seen them cost as much as, well, anything between 300 and 500 gold piece.
This must be processed to add to the collection.
Yeah. Keep on going, and Magna does hint at also added a small pouch that's been left on the floor. There's a few clothes also there, meaning that whomever was sleeping there, and it's in a different part of the monastery, a secondary dormitory, you'd think. Probably a dormitory reserved to those that would prepare food. So maybe it was a cook, maybe someone that got evacuated, maybe someone that you all killed. There are a few clothes, a few rations, and a coin purse.
All right. How much is in the coin purse?
Rummaging in it, there's over 100 pieces in it, but it's different amount of different type. It takes a moment. You start counting it. You find 26 gold piece, 32 silver piece, and 58 copper piece inside the pouch.
That's how much was that?
26 gold piece,
Okay.
32 silver piece, and 58 copper piece. And you have also 5 dried rations. If you want them.
What are my rations down to? My rations are down to...
Well, I don't think any of you ate any rations recently, but you should have ate 1 during the last night.
Alright, I'm down to 10. Sure, I'll take them. I'll get back up to 15.
Right. Well, that's about everything you find, audience. Remy.
Okay.
Remy, with your aided roll with, well, good perception, but also the spell that allowing you to see things that have been enchanted. As you're walking, you see them talking. You notice the dynamic going between audience and Naifa. But your eyes also caught on a few different things. As if dropped by someone, you find stuck between two tiles of the floor that have been slightly cracked. A golden ring, solid golden ring, that emits a little bit of magic.
Any particular school right off the bat, or?
I think it's alteration, but hold on. Abjuration, sorry. You find also hidden behind a statue a scroll case. The magic, however, is placed on the latch that seals the scroll case, and it is evocation. The scroll case itself and its content does not seem to be magical, just looking at them while it's closed. And finally, you find, hidden in a pile of clothes that have been left behind. At first, you sort of recoil at looking at all these clothes, and as you get closer, you sort of get the feeling that, oh yeah, those are dirty clothes. But you see a little bit of magic emanating from deep inside this pile of clothes. So you
that sounds like a job for the mage hand.
Thank God you can dismiss it after. I never want to see that mage hand again. So you take your mage hand and you rummage through all of these dirty clothes and you find a small pouch. It was meant to hold six small bottles, but there's only 3 left in it. One potion you recognize quite easily, as it looks like some sort of healing potions. It has the right color, the right consistency, you just don't know the strength of it. But there are 2 other potions in it that you do not recognize. One of them would emit a aura of enchantment, and the other one would hold on, where is it? Probably alteration. This one is probably really alteration. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm not finding it. I'll say alteration right now, unless I can find it within the next few seconds.
Akira.
And that's about it. You get the feeling that a lot of the temple was already ransacked by the hunter cult, and whatever was left untouched was either because they didn't live in that room or, didn't have time to do something harmful to the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. It's gonna be bugging me for so long. I'm sure I can. Alright, well, I'm gonna find it after the stream and I'm gonna kick myself because, I forget, that's how it's called. Yeah, but that's about it. Takes a few hours. You go through most of the monastery. All of the place where there were gardens, you find sand and dead plants. So some of them had glass roof. Only one of them seemed to have survived. The one that survived, however, is beautiful. You see that the dwarves really made a beautiful stained glass wall of it. With colors really made you think that they're supposed to go with whatever colors would be outside when the light was full. But the other one, get the feeling that some of the cultists okay, that's it. Transmutation. I knew I could find it.
Okay. I thought maybe you were just debating about which school it was.
Oh no, that's the the first one is in the potions. The first one is enchantment. The second one is transmutation.
Okay. If I had known what you were actually looking for, I would have told you transmutation because that's what I wrote down.
Okay. No, well, now I have confirmation. But yeah, that's about it. Everything else, just it's a sad day for architecture and looking at the ceiling. They really look like someone that just threw rocks within the biggest of the windows. Bunch of kids. But that's about everything you find. Of course, you immediately think that the outside is probably incredible also. Yes, they would have put more time into making sure that the monastery was really impressive, but there's an entire city several miles wide outside. Knowing the garden, they're probably going to make a few expeditions there. Send people, catalog everything, learn as much as they can.
Yeah, they'll have a field day. A field week? A field month?
Month, maybe. You get the feeling that some of the adventurers are going to get a whole lot of quests about cataloging things. Taking silent image pictures. But after roughly 3 hours of walking, you find yourself arriving from the other side of the room, and you see Jorg almost asleep. Tobiyashi rolled up in a ball in the corner, dragged up a few rags on top of himself, and he seems to be faring well enough.
Alright. I mean, I guess I'll just get ready to have my long rest since we, as Nysa said, need to get back to the monastery, make sure it's, everyone's okay there.
Yeah, no, immediately when you start saying that, that would be nice getting back there. I mean, you only left them with one guardian, and I hope he was enough. I've been
It was a
protect-
powerful guardian, though.
Well, I really hope so. I haven't had time to see how he handled himself. And I quite honestly have been protecting them for a while now. I'm a bit worried about them, to be honest. But
I can understand that.
But I'm sure a group of adventurers like you, led by a strong and confident dragonborn such as yourself, will easily be able to ensure their safety in the morning. That is, after you all spend 1 hour climbing a tower so that you can light up the inside of a reflective chamber, and then spend 5 hours walking through crawlways to get to the edge of the city.
But listen, that was Toby's idea. I'm personally far more interested in getting back to the monastery and making sure they're safe.
Well, I'm glad you have priorities better placed than him.
Just throwing Toby under the bus.
By way, Raimi toward the end is going to look to audience and minor illusion a coin.
Oh, yes. I will take out the special coin and be like, if you want to identify what this is for me, here you go.
Raimi, having cast Detect Magic before asking you this, is going to politely put the coin back in the bag and pull out the correct coin.
All right. Well,
Actually, no. Wait. Hold on. You know what? No, he won't. He won't make a show of it because he likes you too much. Give me a second. All right. So with a 23 sleight of hand, he digs the coin back up later presumably without you noticing.
Okay.
to save you.
I assume audience
save
does
face.
not notice.
well,
Audience, well, actually, I'll tell you if audience knows. He has to roll a nat 20. That's the only way it could be a success.
that 20 on perception, yeah.
He's trying his best to help you save face.
I mean, I rolled close to a nat 20. I rolled a nat 1 minus 1, so I rolled a 0.
You do not even notice. Remy could have molested you during the night and you wouldn't have noticed.
Oh, I'm completely oblivious.
Alright, so, Naif, I just ask, alright, so who wants to take turn watching, keeping watch? I assume you won't blindly trust a abandoned monastery for your safety.
No. Yes. No. Okay. We can take shifts.
Alright.
I've already got 3 hours in, so I can take the first shift if you want.
Alright, George. You can take the first shift. We'll just wake us up when you're
No, wait, I'll take the last shift. Because I'll be up and ready at that.
Alright, I'll take the first shift then. As the leader, it is my duty to make sure everything is well at the beginning.
Yep.
Raimi gives his looks of admiration toward their fearless leader.
His glistening chest.
By that I mean my cat will make sure everything is okay. But
You'll
I
stay
don't say
up.
that out loud.
You'll stay up, and she'll be taking the guard turn.
I will not be playing with Toby's orb or Mace Head. That's one thing I planned.
Okay, so Remy, you start identifying things. So the small ring is identified as a ring of protection. Normal, solid gold ring of protection. The scroll case. Your detect magic, your identify allows you to see that. Well, the scroll case is meant to hide what's inside of it, and the magic that is on the latch of the scroll case is a trap. It's a small trap similar to acid splash.
Ah. Would Raimi know of a means to disarm this particular trap so that he doesn't get splashed?
Dispel magic would be the obvious one.
Or I guess more specifically, does he get the impression that that once the latch has been done, the splash happens and then it's dispelled after that?
Yeah. You do see that there is a way to rearm the trap. So long as you don't follow those steps, the trap has been spent. But it can be rearmed.
Oh, you mean that, like, assuming that it isn't dispelled, basically putting the latch back on resets the acid splash trap?
Yeah.
But once it's been triggered once, then the magic's gone.
No. You're pretty sure that it's going to stay. It's just that as so long as you don't close it in a certain way, it's not going to rearm.
Okay.
There's a trick to it, you know. Place the latch like this, add a pin here, and
all right. So for Raimi's benefit, since he can do this, he'll just kind of like put himself, like, during this process, just like, some feet away from it, a little bit to the left, and then just have the mage hand undo the latch.
Okay. There is a small moment of anticipation. You have the mage hand that opened the latch. The mage hand has been poisoned.
Oh no. Whatever will Raimi do?
Another mage hand that you have to dismiss. Good lord. There's a place in the ethereal plane where there's 500 mage hand, one by one, all stacked side by side. Can't use them anymore. Inside of it, the scroll is made to hide what's inside. Once you open it, you actually do figure out that, okay, there's an enchantment that prevents you from knowing what's inside of the scroll case. But you find one scroll, which seems to have been rolled up and neatly tied, and you recognize this scroll as being a scroll of Unseen Servant. And you also find 12 cloth with golden writing on it. They're all rolled up, sort of like in a medicine bundle type rolling up. But your detecting spell allows you to know that they have magic potential. They're one-time uses. I forgot to add them to D&D Beyond, so I'll have to do this next time. But if you burn one, it essentially reacts as a turn undead ability of the level of the person burning it. So it basically gives you the ability, no matter your class, to have 12 turn undead charge of the appropriate level. If you're a level 12 rogue, it would be a level 12 priestly turn undead.
Does that include the I guess in this case would be like the destroy undead variant, or just simply turn undead?
No, it can have the destroy undead variant. It's really exactly like, it's as if someone had managed to write on a piece of cloth the essence behind this ability of the priest. And
Okay.
if you want a visual effect, it's gonna do the same thing as in the movie Constantine when he burns the cloth when all of the hell bats are arriving around him. It's gonna have a bright flash. The cloth is gonna be completely destroyed and lost, but it's just gonna have turned or burned undeads nearby.
Noted.
And for the potions, one potion is a potion of gaseous form. The second potion is a potion of greater healing. And last one, I'm going to give that to just Remy because I think he's going to want to try and plot something with this. The last one is this. It's the potion inside of the D&D Beyond. Yeah, I haven't made it up. For some reason, Jorg, you see Remy have a very weird smile in his eyes when he identifies this last potion. A twinkle in his eyes, which we do not know if it is evil or good yet.
Uh-oh. Find anything good, Raimi?
Just looks to it and just like puts it behind his back and shakes his head.
And that's it. That's all you found.
Oh, also the coin.
Oh yes, the coin. The coin is a lucky coin. That one I did build and put in D&D Beyond. It's called Lucky Coin. But the short version of it is that it gives a person a luck point. It recharges after a long rest. It has attunement. But so long as you have it on yourself and you are attuned to it, you have a luck point.
That's really good.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to dole this stuff out. There are some candidates that obviously need some of these. Actually, one of them is kind of, well, maybe obvious, but I'll get into that later.
One of them you want to keep for yourself, and one of them you want to give to someone. And that's about it. So, while Remy is finishing this, audience, make your perception, well, Magna, really, make your perception roll for the night.
Alright. 20.
20.
Unnatural.
Okay. Alright, so takes a little bit of time. First hour goes by and you let yourself drift a little bit as Magna is just taking in things, and it's very silent, and it's sort of nice not having things run around and try to kill you. tear you apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as the second hour goes by of your watch, nothing happens. It's completely silent. You don't even hear the flapping sound of the gargoyles outside. After your 2 hours is done, who do you wake up?
I guess I'll wake up. George said he was going last, so I'll wake up Toby. Toby's been sleeping for a little bit.
Hey, Chaotic Calling joined us. Hello.
Hey.
Oh, and I forgot
Hello.
to say this. For those of you wondering who Chaotic Calling is, there's a link below. And access to their own channel, as well as if you're watching this on YouTube, I also included it in the description below. Alright, so you wake up Tobiyashi and alright, anything happened? Anything I should know? He says, talking to you, audience, not your cat.
Oh. No, nothing happened. There's nothing to report.
Okay.
Silent night. So.
Good. Feels like I've heard a story that starts like this. Silent night. Okay. And he sits down. Starts looking around. You slowly drift. Fall asleep. But one point during the night, I'd say everyone, Jorg, audience, Remy, Neifa, make a perception roll with disadvantage.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, between whom?
Everyone.
Oof. Jor got a nat 1. First one was a 16.
Okay.
8.
You said perception, right?
Yeah, and with disadvantage because you're sleeping.
Wait, which one are you? That's going to be a 14.
Okay. Audience?
6.
So basically, Remy, you're the only one who is woken up by that in the group. But you realize that Neifa was also woken up by this. But you're woken up by an odd sound. You hear... You look around, you wonder what this is for a moment, and then you see the puff of smoke beside Jorg disappearing, and you see the little creature that lives inside of Tobiyashi's ball sliding away. And Tobiyashi, what did you do? Why did you do that? And it looks at Tobiyashi, and then it looks at audience, and Remy, you see it just have this kind of look in his face, a thing that betrays. And it goes back into his ball. George, your puppy was desummoned.
Yup. Does the shock of that happening wake me up or anything?
No, you rolled a natural 1.
Alright. Makes sense. Just slept through my puppy.
Randy just like blinking his eyes a few times, just not quite believing what he just saw, and then maybe just even turns to Neifa.
She looks at you, Remy. It's your party. I don't know why this just happened.
Raimi puts 2 and 2 together, and since he didn't actually see what had happened, but he's probably seen this scene before, he minor illusions uh, I guess it would be just like a puppy with its back, like with all 4 of its legs up and like a ball in its hand. You know the scene I'm kind of talking about.
Yeah.
It's like where it's just like.
Right. Well, at least your friend can resummon him. Judging from the puff of smoke, it's probably some summoned creature.
Raimi blinks and then turns to the form of sleeping Jorg, wondering if he knows that.
You have an interesting party. Conflicting dynamics, I believe. Why didn't they send...
Aw, sweetie, you don't know the half of it.
Oh, I probably know more than you think. Why didn't they send him instead? He would have loved it. I have a friend that would have loved your group. He would have... Well, like he always says, I like newbies, they always do stupid stuff. I believe this says everything. And it's sort of a bit weird because she has a female voice and not me. But she adopted a very low, gruff voice. Feels a bit orcish in nature. Well, I think I'm gonna stay up as your friends seem to have trouble making sure that their other friends don't get killed by their summoned creature.
If there's this huge anime sweat drop going down Raimi's head.
Right
He's
then.
gonna start losing water.
Right then, Tobiyashi, I believe you can go back to sleep. I'll finish your turn. Yeah, I'm really sorry about this. All right, I'm gonna go. Right then. We'll let your druidic friend sleep well. It doesn't seem to have woken up. I'll wake you up in an hour or so. Take your turn. Be mindful of the creature. And goes back. She takes the turn. Tobiyashi goes back to sleep. Remy, do you go back to sleep until your watch turn?
Yeah, this sounds like a problem that he could deal with in the morning.
Okay. So you go back to sleep. Sleep for maybe an hour, a quarter, and then Neifa wakes you up. Right. Your turn, little buddy. Be mindful of the flying smoke. She goes.
Yeah,
She goes to sleep. Make your perception roll.
Yeah, just like even though so far Raimi hasn't done anything to incur the wrath of the entity living inside the ball, he still keeps an eye on it.
All right.
But that'll be a soft 20.
Okay. Oh. First hour goes by and nothing seems to be catching your attention. You do see the small creature getting out of Tobiyashi's ball and just taking a peek for a moment and looking at you and going back into his ball. That's about all that happens for the first hour. During the second hour, however, you do hear a slushing sound, but you hear it for a few moments, then it grows slightly stronger, and then it starts growing weaker and weaker and weaker. It only lasts maybe 2 or 3 minutes in total.
A slushing sound. Hmm.
It was slightly muffled also.
Did it sound like it was coming from beyond the doorway, or?
No, felt like it was coming from under you.
Ah. Raimi is going to be on a bit more of an alert for the rest of his watch.
Adrenaline just woke you up real good. Nothing else happens during the rest of your watch, however. You have a very quiet and silent night. Although that sound probably plays back in your mind a few times.
But I guess at the end of his watch, though, he will somewhat reluctantly go to wake up Jorg, because somebody has to rip the Band-Aid off.
Jorg, you are wakened by Remy.
Hey, Raimi. Where's... I'm gonna look around a bit. And where's... I forgot my dog's name. My dog.
That's a good sign.
That starts out well.
Am I waiting for a name?
Oh, no. Not necessarily. Oh, yeah, Frel. Where's Frel at?
Raimi just, you know what, he does minor illusion a puff of smoke.
Puff of smoke looks like roughly the shape of your dog. Slightly larger.
Oh, I will resummon Frel then, if I know how.
Yes, it's your object. You can summon him once each day.
Yep. All right. I'll just resummon him then.
Takes
A huge weight just washes over Raimi as he doesn't have to worry about the.
Takes a few moments.
Thanks, Raimi.
But you see your dog just reappear in front of you, and you sort of see in his eyes there's a small moment of panic, but then he sees you and suddenly becomes more relaxed, just like every dog does. Does when they see their master. You know, what happened? Oh, master.
I can't talk to him. Oh, wait.
You'd have to use the spell Speak with Animal.
Yeah. But I can see through his eyes.
Yeah.
I want to explore this newfound connection.
Well, it's yeah, sure, it's a newfound connection.
Yeah, it's just kind of
It was there before, but sure, it's
Okay.
a new kind
Oh.
of connection.
I've always been able to do. Oh, so the new stuff is not.
No,
Just having a need
I wrote level 6.
Yeah.
I'm silently dying over here. Just like, I'm going to do this thing that I've apparently always been able to do.
It's a
Yeah.
new spell, you know. There's silent image, now there's silent dying.
Incidentally, this is a cantrip. Raimi can use it whenever he wants.
So, you explore this newfound ability of your dog
Yeah.
for the remainder of the night. Roll perception
Perception.
of your dog if you're in his eyes.
No, I'm doing my own perception. I'm not doing it the whole night. And I got a 26 perception.
Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
Very perceptive. You wait around. You have a few moments where you dive inside the eyes of your puppy and just looking around when you're sure that nothing's gonna happen. And all right, this is cool. You haven't tried it. You even have a better sense of smell when you're inside of him. It's nice. It's nice. You get back. You look around. There's this little moment during the night. You're not sure why exactly, but you see this little ribbon of smoke coming from the ball that Tobiyashi has, and sort of slithers in the air, looks in your direction, feels like it's showing frustration for some reason, and then it slowly goes back down in his ball. You get the feeling that it just gave you the evil stare for a moment.
Plotting and scheming.
But it goes back into the ball and nothing else happened. Although, maybe just a few minutes before you want to wake up everyone, you also hear this slushing sound coming from under you. It feels like it has an echo and it's coming from at least maybe 1 or 2 feet under you. Just...
Well, when it's time, I guess I'll wake everyone up.
Alright, well, slowly, one by one, you all find yourself woken up by Jorg. And who do you wake up in which order, just for fun?
I guess I'd probably wake up Raimi first, and then Audience, and then Tobiyashi.
And where does Neifa fit in all of this?
Oh, Neifa. I guess if she's on the way from Audience to Toby, then I'd wake her up first. But if not, then she's last.
Alright. Well, you all wake up. Slowly, you get woken up by Jorg, and you see his face just smiling at all of you. And Audience, you wake up, you have this sense of something new inside of you, this new power that seems to be pulsing inside of you. Feels interesting. And then, because you have such an incredible passive perception, you didn't notice, but Remy and Jorg, you both notice as Neifa seems to have made her way near Audience, and you see Audience looking away from her at this moment. He didn't see her coming. He's looking at Magna, and then suddenly, Audience, you feel something rubbing behind you, between your shoulder. Jorg and Remy, you see Neifa just placing herself back to him, and then rubbing her shoulder in the center of his back, and you hear her say, "Oh, I love Paladin when they reach this slow. Oh, have a sense of protection. It's always so cozy." And she keeps rubbing a little bit behind in your back. You hear Magna going in your head. What's she doing? Hey, that's mine. I put the scent on him all week long. Can she smell it?
Audience is like, I don't know what's happening.
Raimi, you know what? Raimi, not sure what she means. Just like, gets a few feet closer.
You can make an
The
insight.
audience isn't upset about it. He's just more confused. He's like, damn. It's like, did I finally hit my popular phase?
Well, since Jorg and Remy, you're in such a nice position to see this, you can both roll insight if you want.
And... Oops.
It's 17.
Okay.
Ooh, 18.
Oh, wow. Well, you're both in prime position to see audiences' mind sort of freeze a little bit. And when you see this moment, you see her starting to add a layer of this, that feels so good. She's teasing him. She's teasing him really hard. Enjoying this moment of when you get the feeling that because she's in contact with him, she noticed that moment of, what's happening? And she sort of revels in it for a moment or two, adding a layer in this, always feels nice waking up to this. And she walks away.
Audience just looks at the rest of the party and then goes, today's gonna be a good day. Alright, let's go.
Dan, did you find a new dagger during the night?
Today's gonna be a good day.
The Raimi notices a smell he didn't notice before.
A few moments later, you turn around and you look at Naifa just walking toward the door, slowly, confidently, and then suddenly you feel your cat just rubbing itself in your bag, and now I'm gonna have to rub her out of this. And she's marking her territory, as all cats do.
I just like, listen, alright, I get that I'm attractive, but we need to calm down a little bit. We need to just. All right, I just woke up. It's too much for me this morning. Let's move on. let's go meet up with the other adventurers.
Wait, before we do that, I'm gonna try to remember how to turn on those crystals.
Oh my god.
How do I do it? It was with a light spell.
I'm like, Jorg, do you remember that we did leave a monastery barely defended, and that it would perhaps be appreciated if we didn't waste too much of time?
I'll be quick. Watch
You'll be
this.
quick? Alright.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn into a giant owl
Okay.
and then fly up and cast.
Tobiyashi asked you to wait for a little bit. He wants to see this. He wants to do this.
Yeah, we'll wait. Do we have time to wait? Okay, yeah.
I guess if you're flying up, I guess we're waiting.
It'll be quick. See, I can fly now.
I'll just turn to Naif and be like, I tried.
So I take it that you're using polymorph spell. Is that it?
Polymorph. Me?
Yeah, it absolutely has to be polymorph because
You said
you can't wild shape until level 8 for a flying creature.
Oh, it's level 8, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I was excited because I thought it was level 6.
And
Weak. Never mind.
polymorph is a much higher level.
Never mind. I'm not flying up there.
All right.
However,
if Tobiyashi figures something out, we can go up there.
So basically, what you see is Jorgen. Wait a minute, I got this. I got this.
I can do this.
And he starts concentrating, and because at level 6 you get a swimming speed, he transforms into a flying fish. You see him just go.
It's not wings.
Although,
Audience goes,
notably, not to encourage this, but you seem to have forgotten that you have a spell that would be able to get the job done just as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could polymorph myself.
No, your
No.
polymorph is a level higher than you can cast.
just spider.
Oh yeah, just spider up there.
No, even simpler.
Spider climb?
The question is, does he have it prepared?
No, I mean, like, look, did y'all just forget that conjure animals is a spell?
Yeah, can you conjure flying things to carry him?
I guess I could. I don't know if I can conjure
Like
anything
that.
that can fly.
At minimum, a giant eagle is a CR1.
Oh, okay.
I
That would
think
be big
CR1. It's somewhere in that ballpark.
So, are you doing that instead?
Using a level 3 spell. Although I do have another level 3 spell slot now.
So you hear Neifa go, well, while you're trying to debate whether you want to climb a tower for an hour and then activate a beacon inside of a reflective chamber and then crawl through service tunnel for 5 hours, I'm gonna take the shorter and more beautiful route out of this place. I'm gonna wait up for you at the monastery.
Why would we have to crawl through the service tunnels? If I'm flying up there, I'm flying back down.
Well, good luck on you on that.
Audience is like, I'm gonna go with her. You guys-
Yeah, I'll go with you guys this time. But if Tobiyashi,
I'm like, I'm sorry, Toby. We'll come back. We'll do it another time. We actually have stuff to take care of still.
yeah,
All right. Then let's go then. And you hear Tobiyashi. All right. Oh, sorry, Tobiyashi. You're not here to argue, so you get to roll. And unfortunately, with a 5 charisma, I'm pretty sure you weren't able to... with a roll of 5 on charisma, I'm pretty sure you weren't able to impress anyone with the arguments that you gave.
Okay. So I'm just checking one thing here.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm looking this up, but come on, I just need to see the one thing. Yeah, Jorah could make this trip a lot faster.
getting
For
out of
everybody.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could conjure. Which
So right now you're looking at roughly a 9-hour walk to get to the monastery. You really are gonna get there at the end of the day.
where's it at? But I could summon 4 riding horses, and we get there a lot faster.
There's 5 of you. Oh no,
I got-
audience
he-
is gonna
he-
take
he's
it.
got a cat,
He
yeah.
can summon up to 8.
I could summon
Because
8
riding horses are quarter challenge rating.
Something's got to be cooler than riding horses. So, like,
Sounds cool.
Basilisk lizards.
Oh yeah,
I mean, horses are cool.
I could
Sorry.
summon 4 war horses though. Imagine that. I imagine they're just bigger.
Well,
They're also
there's
slower, I think.
sturdier.
Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna summon 4 riding horses.
All right.
I mean, you might as well summon 8. It looks cooler than on a herd of horses.
Yeah, get a full 8 riding horses going. Might as well.
What if one breaks its leg? We'll have another spare.
That's a good point.
How long
Yeah.
does the spell last?
Theoretically, if you cast the spell 3 times, we could get 3 hours worth of traveling at 120 movement speed if they dashed every time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a
Yeah.
horse can last around an hour at their maximum speed. Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure how the math will go as far as how quickly we'll get back over there, but it's a thing.
Well, basically, it means that the first you need 4 hours to get out of the geode, and then another 4 hours to get out of the suburbs, and then an hour to get to the temple. So you'd get the first 4 hours traveled in 2 hours. 2 hours. Because the first 3 hours would be traveled in 1 hour. Meaning that you'd spend only 2 hours in the geode. If my math is correct.
Well, it's like I guess it depends on which math is being done. As far as like, are we assuming a 30-foot movement speed for all of the travel times?
Not if they're sprinting.
No, I mean, if we like the typical, like when you said it takes 9 hours by walking.
Yes, 9 hours for you by walking. Wow, okay, a horse have
so
60
then, like-
feet. Okay.
Yes, yeah, riding horses have 60 feet, so if they're dashing, they go at 120 feet.
Alright, so basically, in 1 hour, you do 2 hours. You do 6 hours. Alright. Yeah, you could get out of this place in 2 to 3 hours.
Do it. I'm gonna summon 8 horses just for kicks.
Just to hear the thundering hooves of horses running through this city.
Oh yeah, there was something slimy below us. Just FYI,
Raimi
Probably won't.
shivers.
matter.
Nah. As long as we're not going to the sewers, shouldn't matter.
Alright. Well, in that case, you summon all of these horses and you get on top of them and... Yeah! And then everyone just make a animal handling. See if how well you do this. Well, not you, audience, because you have your mount.
Yeah.
Audience doesn't need no horse.
Do I have to make animal handling?
Well, yeah.
They obey my commands. Okay, I rolled a 9.
So Raimi rolls an 18.
Okay.
Raimi is commander of the wilds today.
The druid is having a whole lot of trouble with nature tonight. So, all right. So, Remy, you expertly jump on the horse and ride like the wind, and just keeping up with audience, who has a cat that runs at 50 and not 60. So, audience sets the pace of the run. But unfortunately, you have to wait. You have to stop quite a few times during this trip, as Jord keeps almost falling off of his horse. You know, he managed to stay on for a moment and makes him run, and then you suddenly see the panic in his eyes, and he hold on, and suddenly you see him start to slide on one side, slide. And the audience has to slow down, go back to him, push him up.
Not right used to bareback.
Aren't you a druid?
Yeah.
I thought that
Everyone, at some point, everyone hears in a woman's voice. Sometimes the captain has mounting problems.
So it slows you down a bit, but with horses, with everyone keeping pace with audience. So basically doing 50. Let's round it down for every time that the group has to slow down because Jorg is slowly falling off of his horse. Oh yeah, Tobiyashi. Apparently, audience is helping Jorg and Neifa is helping Tobiyashi. He rolled a 10. He's a bit better than Jorg, but not by a lot. So you're managing, but having to stop a few times. So it's 4 hours. Horses go. Let's see. 3 times means 3 hours and 1 hour, 6 hours. All right. Well, basically, when you arrive to where you have to change floor. Where you killed the first two, the two cultists in the beginning, before entering the geode, just after going down the stairs. This is roughly where your first spell end, so it's not too bad. You would have a little bit of trouble getting the horses up these steep stairs. So
I think we'd walk during that portion.
Yeah. So slowly you get up, you go up. Audience just stays on Magna. You know, it's dwarves. For some reason, they always build their stuff as if they were 16 feet tall. So just enters, keep going up. Yeah, keeps going up. You arrive on the first floor and you start summoning again. And I'll get back up on it. And let's have another animal handling. Good lord. Tobiyashi doesn't like horse. So, Jorg.
Oh yeah, that's a 23.
Oh, okay.
He's having trouble with the first one, but he got his head in the game this time.
Yeah. And Remy?
Remy gets a 13.
You have to slow down a few times because it's going fast. This one is a bit more wild than the first one you got, so this is why it's a bit weird. But hey, you look at yourself, you look at the trouble you're having, and then you look at Tobiyashi and say, okay, I'm good. Who just keeps sliding and sliding and sliding. I believe with his animal handling, hold on, I'm gonna see for sure. Tobiyashi, animal handling +2. Yeah, I got a 7. So Tobiyashi just keeps falling off on one side. Eventually, he just gets flanked with audience and Neifa, who just keeps pushing him back up every few minutes. But in grand total, it takes you maybe 3 hours to get out of this place. And at the pace you're going, you don't see anything. Nothing catches up with you. You got out of the geode. You didn't see... You heard maybe 1 or 2 gargoyles, but you were going so fast they really couldn't keep up. And, sorry, the same thing can be said while you're inside of the less beautiful, less beautiful part of the city. But the cultists all seems to not be there anymore. And it's a bit of a relief, not having to kill a whole bunch of cultists as you're getting out. Slowly you start seeing the light of day outside because, you were going a bit by nose, but you thought that... that's right, in English it's by ear. Sorry, translation between French and English. That's always nice. So, you thought that it was probably going to be somewhere around 9 o'clock. Turns out it's about 10 o'clock when you get out. And for a moment, there's the blinding flash of the sun. Wow. It's been a while. But you suddenly feel the fresh air outside. And... okay. Fresh air, morning is still a bit fresh. Of course, it's a bit windy, but you're used to it. You've been here for several months. So, but it's nice.
I will say that as they finally break day, seeing the light of the sun, just like Raimi just tears up a little bit.
It's just so beautiful. The sun, and you're looking up, and you have the sun, and you look in front of you, and you have cultists. Cultists in front of you. That's different. You find yourself enjoying the sun, but as your eyes slowly start to readjust, you begin to see a wall of cultists in front of you. Not just one or two, but easily 20 or 30 of them. Some of them wearing druidic robes, some of them wearing barely anything, barbarian, and some wearing roguish clothes. You have one who actually comes in front of the group and has his arm crossed. He's looking at you, audience, when you come out. So, you finally come out. We're expecting you a bit later, but then again, they do say that vengeance is served cold.
Yeah. Are you here because we defeated the avatar of your god because he's weak and pathetic and barely even a challenge?
He says with the longest nose possible, not revealing the fact that one of the party died during that fight.
You see the cultist turn his head toward the monastery. I think our god is doing well. And as your eye follow his, you see smoke coming out of the monastery.
Okay. I don't know what that means. It's on fire. Is there some hidden meaning behind this that you'd like to tell me? Or... well, okay.
Well, maybe we could just, feed you to him as a celebration.
I mean, you could, but then we just have to defeat him again, and I feel like that'd be kind of a waste of both of our times. So if, you just want to get out of our way, we got places to be, and, I would prefer... Well, actually, I wouldn't mind killing all of you, but, it's up to you.
Feeling cocky. Oh, that's always makes for a better meal. Alright then, everyone. Let's prepare the first feast of our god. You see them all. You see maybe 12 druids all raising their hand to cast spells. You see all of the barbarians taking their weapons out. You see all of the rogues taking daggers out and preparing themselves.
And Raimi casts Meteor Swarm on all of them.
You hear Neifa right beside you saying, "Those are interesting odds. I have my doubts on your ability to survive this."
No, we got this. Audience will pull out his long sword, get ready to divine smite the person in front of him.
You see the one in front of you taking one step forward. You get the feeling that he's a bit stronger than the rest. Well, I don't mind taking the first shot at this. And suddenly you start seeing shadow appearing right around where this guy is. And in the middle of what he's saying, and I can... What? He looks up, and all you can see are those two eyes appearing from where the sun should be and descending on the group. Suddenly, it dawns on you. This looks... These are big eyes. That's a big face. That's a dragon. You see the face of a dragon coming out. This long, snake-like dragon. Landing right where this person is. Almost right on top of it, but he doesn't have time to say anything, to just dodge out of the way. He makes half a step, and the mouth of this dragon just wraps around him, crush him up. You see this splash of blood, and then suddenly the dragon sort of like falls into a blood frenzy. Chews him up a little bit and spit him on the ground, puts a claw on him, bites whatever is beside his claw, then spits him out. For a moment, this form is a bit blurry as it came right from the sun, but as the sun slowly diminishes and your sight goes back to normal, this is not the dragon you've ever seen before. This is something different. It is long, snake-like. It has 2 pairs of wings, 4 wings in total. His body is white. His belly is yellow. And there are fine blue lines coming from his head, going on his back and going on top of his wings. His paws are also blue. And there's one thing that you've never seen also. He is covered in fur and feather. His wings are covered with feathers, and his body is covered in fur. And as this image catches you, this gargantuan creature, he just suddenly crumples up and disappears, taking the form of a dragonborn. And you realize it's the first of the 4 who came from the garden. The dragonborn that you couldn't remember who that was. He just stands there and says, "Sorry, I think I interrupted something. You were saying?"
I was saying that we were going to kill them all, and you seem to be...
You see all of them just looking at one another, and then looking at him. You see some of them making one step to go backward, and then you see this torrent of energy just engulfing 12 of them. You see their shape disappear, shredded by this white, yellow torrent of energy, leaving only behind the trace of what looks like a long claw that's been there. And behind that torrent of energy, you see Core approaching. "Ha! Is that it? They told me there was gonna be a lot of them. That's a bit disappointing."
Yeah, I've kind of been disappointed by them this entire fight. I know what you mean, Core. Even their god's avatar was kind of disappointing. It's a real shame.
you see the remainder of this small army getting smaller and smaller. They just look at everyone. Some of them are just panicking and starting to run away. This is when you notice that black silk has managed to slither on the ground. And suddenly you just see this black thing go up in the sky. And you notice that all of the silk are wrapped up and go right to a ring of metal. And at the end of the ring of metal, maybe 50 feet straight up in the air, you see Amiali upside down holding her chakram. Really bigger chakram than normal chakram, but still a chakram. But the silk is all tied up toward that chakram. And then she just twists it, and you see blades appearing all throughout her shroud and just blendering this mass of people. And she just falls down as the blood also is falling down. You hear her say, I told you should have gotten reinforcement. I just keep telling them they don't listen. You have this last few group of people, not sure what to do. They turn around, they look at all of these people who just pulverize most of their armies as if they were playthings. And then suddenly you see them all go a little bit slack as they turn around and they hear a voice. The voice is beautiful. It is charming. And Remy, even you, for some reason, feel a little bit drunk by this voice saying, now come on, everyone. Join us. We will take you in just like your God told you he would. Please follow us. You see them all turn around and you see Temptress in all of her glory, wings opened, rather skimpy dress, but still looking fabulous. Her arms open, her tail slowly moving. She seems to have two wooden swords in her hands. And then suddenly she opens them both. They are huge war fans. She just gracefully flutter them in front of her, and you see this tunnel of flame appearing, engulfing every single one that is left. When the flame subsides, they're just a mass of burnt, charred flesh.
Yeah.
So
And you
just
hear-
Really gotta get her as my high priestess.
so just so I'm clear here, Temptress in this exact moment just blew a bunch of guys all at once.
And it was a blazing glory.
It was pretty hot, yes.
Yeah.
Pretty hot to watch.
Listen,
And
audience said we were gonna kill all of them. He just didn't say which one of us would.
she makes a few steps forward and says, oh dear, this is what happened when you let temptation guide you away from your path. And she closes her fan and keeps walking toward you.
Respect to all of them.
You sort of
Right.
get the feeling right
Respect.
now that there's a reason why those four were the last one to come in. You thought that one of the group, the one that went the furthest, was the strongest representative of the adventurers in the garden, but suddenly feels like this, maybe those are the four strongest member of all the adventurers.
Actually, I think our party's the strongest. I think we got this.
I just need everyone
Take
to know
their
that
God.
Raimi has like gotten off his horse and has already started walking toward the Dragonborn with just like huge sparkly anime eyes.
Yeah, no, audience needs to go talk to that man and learn how he learned how to do that, because he needs that action.
Remy, for you, that temptress was an odd thing. Unlike everyone else, who seemed to have also felt a sexual urge when she arrived, you didn't feel the sexual urge, but you certainly felt the romantic urge, which is really odd for you.
That was just for a brief moment, just like questioning himself. Then it just like went away. It's like, oh wait, no, okay.
Nothing's changed. Okay. It's just a weird moment, that's all. Just temptation. Oh yeah, that's right. Alright, well. I think this is an interesting moment where we can take a break. And apparently Tobiashi is on his way back right now, so we might actually get him right after the break. So, I'll give you a moment to think about what you want to say to those 4 adventurers. And on that, we're going to take our own break. And I'm going to give a little bit of a... I don't know, it's hot here, so how about some gentle rain? Always seems to make me feel a little bit cooler. So, we'll be back in 15 minutes. Let's look at exactly... Alright, that's going to be easy enough to calculate. And see you back in 15 minutes. Well, we're on break. Remember, if you're not following us already, why not follow us? It helps so much. And even subscribe, you know. I don't have anything against it. So, see you all back in 15 minutes. Bye. Aha! Welcome back! Let's interrupt this little rain. Feel better, feel refreshed. There was rain. Alright, so... Well, as you can see, Tobiashi's still not here. He's still a bit dazzled by what just happened. He just... Oh, wow. Hopefully he'll be here before the end, but... Meanwhile, the rest of the party is there, so... Jorg, Audience, and Remy. Neifa also, you know. How do you react to what you just saw?
Again, as I said before the break, Remy is already just like walking toward the Dragonborn with sparkly eyes.
Audiences drink most of the content of his water skin, and then
It's just, you know, quick water.
He suddenly
break.
feels really thirsty.
No, audience will put away his greatsword, sheathe it, and be like, kind of turn the forward around and be like, thanks for the assist. Although I'm a little disappointed. Was looking forward to a tough fight for once.
you hear Kor going, tough? Hey, where's the metal one? I was looking forward to finishing that duel.
I'm gonna be like, ask her. She was the last. She was the last one to see him.
He looks at Neifa. He said he could distract the cultists chasing the civilian. So I gave him an orb so he could heal himself, and I took the civilians to safety. It Kor. I was looking forward to killing him. Oh well.
Oh well. Sometimes. Alright. Let's see, I'll turn to the rest of the party and I'll be like, what have you guys been up to? We just came from defeating an avatar of the Hunter God.
Darkahin takes response to that. Well, we've been on our own little adventure. Not sure the garden would like us talking about this to just about anyone, but they said that you were facing a little bit of trouble. And as you remember, I was taking the last season members of this expedition back to the garden. When I got there, they told me that you were facing a little bit of trouble. Fortunately, on my way out, I found those three.
Well, again, thank you for the assist. It was appreciated. It's very impressive entrance. A lot of pizzazz.
Right, well, that must be a word you took from another one of those species during your travels. I mostly just lived in the north, so, well, you'll have to tell me which species has that word. I'm thinking gnomes, maybe? Feels like a gnomish thing to say.
There was it was a gnomish sailor on my voyage
Yes.
voyage over here.
So, fighting avatars, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's always an interesting first.
Yes. It was you gonna say something, George?
Oh, it was unrelated to the Avatar, so you can talk.
I was unrelated to the Avatar. Okay, it was a harrowing experience. But luckily, I think we were able to at least weaken, dispel as of that moment. Obviously, not defeating the hunter god, but at least I think weakening him trying to enter the realm at that point.
You hear Amioli jump in. Well, at least it was a partial success. Well, that's a good initiation in the life of an adventurer. I remember my first avatar. Wow, it's been quite a while. Bit of a wimpy god.
Hmm.
So,
I see
Rainy
you.
by this point has
I see you've added a new feline member to your party.
Yes. This is Magna, my steed. Magna, say hello. Magna just looks at me like,
What the heck are
what are you doing?
She gets closer to Magna and just starts patting him just behind the ear. You see Magna just going, it feels good, but I don't want to say it. You hear those thoughts inside of your head. You see Amiali. Yeah, I can see why he decided to go with you. Oh, that's very interesting. So, you're all well on your way to becoming known adventurers. Bit of an easy start, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I haven't really been tested too much.
I'm sure it's gonna come up sooner or later.
I'm sure. George just sitting there quietly in the back.
Easy.
You see the sweat drop accumulating one after the next.
Raimi is now tugging on the armor and/or clothes of Tagnahan and
Close.
yeah, clothes, making sure. And just like this diminutive raven boy just kind of like tugging on his clothes.
Yes. Is there something you'd like to say?
So Raimi is going to minor illusion a still image of of the man biting that cultist to bits as in this dragon form.
Well, yes, it wasn't very appetizing, but felt like his speech was just dragging on.
But Rainy just like takes an image and points specifically at the dragon part.
Right. Well, it's a dragon. I'm sorry. I'm not sure which question you're asking.
uh, in a woman's voice, Remy says, "It's like, oh, what is that thing?"
You have Temptress stepping in and arriving. I believe, my dear, he wants to know where you learn that. Well, happened a little while ago. I was quite a bit younger, actually. Um, I'd been hired by a band of mercenaries to attack a uh, thief den. They were moving part of their loot. Uh, One element of their cargo stood out a little bit. So when we finished dispatching the guards, I examined it. Inside of the crate, there was a large egg. Now, dragon's eggs are relatively easy to identify, but this one was quite different. Different colors. So, I secured it. And a few weeks later, one of its maker arrived. Quite an imposing dragon, I would say. Turns out, the thieves had attacked his mate while he was out hunting. She was guarding their nest, and they destroyed all but one egg, and severely wounded her. Once she recovered, they went looking for the egg, and they found me. I was more than happy to give back the egg, and as a reward, the dragon said that I could call upon his essence if I needed it. And so, that was me calling on his essence. Very useful for long travels and attacking a large group.
Audience slips away his notepad back to his
Rainy changes the minor illusion to a map and has like a pleading look in his eyes.
Oh, I'm afraid it's a very long way from this island chain. Very close to the north, actually. You don't have a map for this place, I'm afraid. You'd first have to go back all the way to the Dragonborn capital. And then from there, you'd have to keep going north. As far as you can. There was a dwarven city there a long time ago. But now, few dragons have taken refuge inside of the mountain. It's always a good thing for dragons to have abundant riches nearby. I remember a silver dragon also establishing its own little lair inside of the mountain. It sent adventurers to try and retrieve pieces of art. But you'd have to go all the way there. It's at least a good year of travel by boat, as audience would most likely attest to. It's long, it's grueling, and quite boring if you're stuck on the water. But quite educational also.
Question: have we been sitting here talking this entire time while the monastery just burns below us?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask earlier. Did you guys manage to help the monastery?
Yeah, Amiali comes right next to you, Jorg. She puts one arm on your shoulder because the horses have been
Yeah,
unsummoned since then, and don't worry about it too much. But I'm sort of surprised by the fact that you waited this long to ask this question.
I've been meaning to ask it, but I didn't want to interrupt our valiant leader.
So why you throwing me under the bus?
No, I don't mean it like that.
Well, I'd say that
Insight, he 100% meant it by that.
I'd say that saving life is more important than not interrupting your leader. But don't worry about it. We stopped by the monastery first. There was a very interesting tree there. There was also apparently a very interesting fight during the night.
Was the tree okay?
It looked
people inside of
well. It needed a little bit of recovery. It was injured, but apparently it fought a incarnation of a god. Someone threw a crystal. That's what the peasants and worksmen and priests inside of the monastery kept saying. That this person arrived and then used the crystal to summon a version of this incredibly large wolf, and the wolf and the tree just fought it out. You should hear the children inside the monastery. They just keep going. It was incredible. I'm gonna be just like the tree. You can't be a tree. You know, what children keep saying to one another.
Good to see our friend was able to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
You see Temptress just slithers away toward Audience and Jorg. And I believe there is something of yours also at the monastery. Someone said that a box had been left there. And everyone is afraid to go inside of the room the box is right now. You have Neifa go, "Oh, what did the peasant do? I told them to just water the creature inside the box." You hear Kor go, "Oh, you can't ask too much of peasants.
Hey,
They always keep getting scared of whatever."
can you blame them though? They've been harvested.
I believe I just did.
That, yes, but you shouldn't.
Why?
Not everyone possesses the skill. If everyone possessed our or especially your level of skill, there'd be no reason for you or the garden to exist.
I'm not sure the garden is something that should be involved in this argument. As for me, well, it's a source of income.
There'd be no source of income because everyone would be you. You'd just be another peasant. Just peasants would be a lot stronger.
He gets close to you, put his arm around your neck, and you see Amioli just gives him a little bit of room, takes her arm away from your shoulder. I'm gonna give you a little secret. Even if everyone were peasants, I'd be better off than them. That's the difference between being something and me.
Ah, I see.
I am, and I work to be. They just are. That's the difference.
Translation: he's been drinking his own Kool-Aid for quite some time.
Yeah. I am not going to argue with him. I understand now.
You don't look like it, but I'm gonna let go.
All right.
So Ravi, not paying as much attention to this particular part of the conversation, has now wandered over to audience and started tugging on his pants.
Okay. Audience will turn to me. Yes, Remy.
So Raimi is just going to minor illusion the dragon once again and just excitedly, emphatically point at it.
Yes, for the dragon. Apparently, he has been blessed by the gods to receive just a small fraction of his power and his essence, so he in fact can become close to a god for a short time. It is an incredible ability. Perhaps one day we will both get there as well. Perhaps we will be blessed by dragons as well.
You hear Temptress go, well, that's one way of explaining it. Come on now, I'm sure you all want to take a little break.
I mean, we just took a break.
Okay, everybody. Well, we'll be back in another. We don't usually have 2 breaks during the stream, but.
Yeah. No. Audience will be like, actually, I'm feeling quite well rested, ready for action, but it doesn't seem like there are any more enemies to fight, so I guess I don't know. We'll go where we're needed.
Yeah.
Well, for now, I think the monastery would be a very welcoming place.
Yeah, and Raimi's just gonna, now that he's tuned back into the conversation, that his excitement has been allowed to settle for a moment, has a sudden realization of the conversation that was having previously, then minor illusions the box that he is assuming has been left behind.
Wasn't that Naif's box? I don't know.
Remy, does the box you're minor illusioning looks like a box that should be familiar to people, or is it a generic box?
The one that should be familiar to people.
In that case, Remy seems to be minor illusioning the box in which why won't his name come out? In which Fisher was keeping Terry.
Terry.
Oh. Yes. Terry.
He says with so much love and affection.
I don't have a lot of opinions. Fisher would want us to take care of him, because I guess he's Fisher's child.
In which case, Raimi is going to hop back onto the horse that was summoned for him.
Well, the horse is
The
gone.
horses are gone.
Okay. I didn't know if
We're
we
near
came
the
in on
monastery
horses
now.
or if they were I lost track of how we came in on.
You're still inside the city. You're not completely out, but the horse desummoned because it had been an hour.
Okay.
Oh,
I just wasn't sure if we were in in what stage we were at. But in which case, Raimi would start then walking in the direction of the monastery.
Yeah. Audience is gonna go talk to Temptress because he still hasn't actually heard her answer from about 1.5 years ago. It's kind of a conversation.
It's been a while.
It's only been 2 weeks.
Okay. about a year and a half ago. Yeah. So audience will go up to Temptress to be like, "Oh, what's the name of the city? The big city she was in with the library."
I have my map here. I believe you are talking about Otanel.
Yes, Othanel. I was like, okay, he'll go up to her. He'll be like, I'm sorry I never caught you in Othanel. I was off, doing so many missions, never seemed to find any free time. But I was wondering if you'd looked into my proposal at all from before.
Well, oh wow. Someone wrote a lot of things in the chat. That's so weird. Thank you very much. I didn't see it.
Adam.
Thank you very much. That was very nice of you. Right. Okay. So you were asking her that. All right. So she looks at you and says, "Well, I actually did quite a lot of searching myself on everything you showed me. Quite an interesting culture you have. Quite an interesting religion. How long has it been going on?"
I mean, our religion has. I mean, the dragons being gods have been going on since dragons have been around, but so the religion only has recently been asked to been spread to the world by my master. So, which would be when I was young, I was started being taught it. So I'd say about 14, 13 years.
I see. Well, because there aren't a lot of information about your religion. It has seemingly managed to remain quite quiet.
Yes, it's hard for me alone to be able to spread it as effectively as I might like, which is why I made the proposal asking for help from a more influential, perhaps, member, such as yourself. I can only champion it to the best of my ability and try and show people the power of the dragon through my actions.
Well, maybe you should think about acquiring favors from dragons on this island. Some of them are known.
I know about a silver dragon that lives up on the mountain above the lake. I don't know exactly which lake, but
well, there aren't a lot of silver dragon living here, so I know which one you're referring to.
Yes. Apparently we met an old friend of hers of the spirit of the lake. I had a brief conversation with him. And that is the only dragon I know of, at least readily, on this island chain.
Well, if you ask our... How should I put it delicately? Our mercenary-minded friend, and she points toward Kor, he'll tell you that there is also a green dragon living in the elven forests. I wouldn't advise that you try and seek his attention, though. Elves do not have a very kind tale about him. But I believe there is also a red dragon who has taken a home inside of the mountains we are currently in, just quite a bit further down to the south. And there are legends of a gold dragon sometime making voyage to this island, but never staying for very long. I do believe he resides when he is here in mountains to the south of the island. But well, let's just say that if you go there and he's not there, there's a very good chance that you won't see him within your lifespan. But you could always try that. Of course, I can always try and help you, but as you can see, I am more suited at tempting people to, how did they put it? Walk through hell and back on my demand. I'm not sure that's very good to accumulate a lot of followers.
I will look into perhaps visiting some of these dragons. My master's a green dragon, but I have heard tell he has said that I should be careful around others of his kind, as some are not always as kind and benevolent as he is. But I will perhaps go see if the gold or red dragon are around.
Well, and I believe with your personal taste, maybe the silver dragon would be a better choice for you.
Yes. I also already have at least a vague connection with her. I think it was a her. Yes, it was a her.
Oh, and
a vague
I
connection with her.
do believe that our friend, and she points toward Amiyali, who's currently talking to Tobiyashi. Tobiyashi seems to have a very odd interest in her right now, whereas she points toward him and you look back, and the way he's looking at her, sort of like he's trying to see something, but also not quite believing what he sees. I believe our friend there, and she points toward Amiyali, could probably help you with this. I do believe that the monastery she has studied in is but a couple of 100 feet below the lair of the dragon.
I will talk with her about it. Thank you for the information.
In the meantime, of course, if I ever find like-minded people, like-minded with you, I will of course send them your way. And I will do my best not to distract them.
Thank you. That's a...
Yep, we're having trouble with our camera. Okay, it's stabilized.
Yeah. It's like, I will remember to button my shirt all the way up.
Especially, I will mention, I say, especially if you find any nobles or anyone of money or influence who has any interest, please send them to talk to me. I would love to find someone with perhaps a little more financial backing who could help spread our religion.
Yes, of course, because all good religion need ample followers and riches.
Audience is not going to deny it. He's not going to accept it. He's going to stay quiet on that. It's religion of the dragon, alright? Gold and gems are important.
Yes, of course, of course. would of course expect a religion based on dragons to have a certain amount of riches involved in it. After all, dragons and riches have always existed hand in hand, especially gems, works of art, and magical objects, but also a healthy amount of gold. Of course, I will try and help you find followers with more means. Although, you really should think about followers with means do not always make the most devout followers. Followers with little to lose are more easily tempted. And she gives you a wink.
She's not wrong. Clients will nod in agreement.
There seems to be a little frustration behind the audience's voice. Didn't go exactly like I wanted to.
Audience is trying its best.
Well, you were working off a very low charisma roll to get her to follow you blindly. So,
I'll take what I can get.
all right. Well, Tobiashi's not here, so for us to hear what he's talking about with Amiali. So, we're going to Jorgor Remy. You don't have to talk about something. We can just jump at you going further inside the city and going to the monastery. I'm just giving you the possibility to add something.
No, Jorg doesn't have anything to add.
All right. Remy?
Like, I already announced that that Raimi was making his way toward the monastery because now that there's a box that potentially has a Terry inside of it that may or may not have been fed for a while because people were too scared.
All right. So you keep on going. You keep on making your way, and it's mostly quiet. The city is eerily quiet now that no one's hunting in it anymore, but there's also this little sense of easiness. It's sort of easier to breathe while you're walking in the city. It was harder to see, as if a very thick, humid weather had suddenly been lifted while didn't quite notice it before, but now that you're here and that the hunters aren't there anymore, it just feels lighter, easier to travel. And with a group of 4 adventurers who just obliterated a group of between 30 to 50 enemies, you feel quite safe in the remainder of your journey toward the monastery. Although
casually walk by the hole that they left in the middle of the town square.
Or we'll mention to Core, because I feel like he'd be someone who would appreciate this. I'll be like, wouldn't be much of a fight, but I'll mention to him the these thieves encampment told about the city of like 40 thieves, and I'll be like, if you're ever bored, I'll just let you know that there is a thieves encampment over this way.
Oh, that
wouldn't be.
That could be interesting in the morning. Just a little bit of stretching. It's been a while since I destroyed an entire camp. And I get to keep everything inside.
Audience thinks to himself, the poor thieves. What have I done? It's like, yeah, go have fun with that if you want. They brought it on themselves.
Alright then, I might do that in the morning, do a little bit of celebration. At least I hope these monks have something to celebrate with. If not, I might actually do this tonight. But it's not going to be for the same reason. They might not enjoy it as much.
I'll just kind of give him a thumbs up, like, you do you, man.
You've met people like this. He's a mercenary, thick and through. It's he does it, and you sort of get the feeling that he's the kind of mercenary that's not actually doing it for the gold. He's just doing it because he likes doing it.
That's why I offered it to him, because I knew he'd enjoy it.
It's more than just a way of life. It's just life for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing good because it will remove a thieves' camp, and also he'll enjoy it. So, win-win.
Next morning, you all walk by this place and you see a giant crater.
Audience just whistles casually, like, this isn't on me, right?
So, you easily make your way to the monastery, and as you arrive, you get the feeling that you missed an interesting fight. Because the closer you get, the more you find these large marks on the ground, which looks like claw marks mixed with vines, maybe, coming up from the ground and being pulled out, or simply suddenly lifting up. You see a few craters. You notice that there's one wall of the monastery that's missing. The one that was on the western side, it's just missing. And at the center of the monastery, you can see. Well, as you're arriving, you can't see the center of the monastery, but you do notice that there's the large top of a tree that's still there at the center of the monastery. As soon as you're arriving, you notice that the doors of the monastery have been left open. Then you make another few steps and you realize that, they can't be closed. They've been ripped open. But you hear the sounds of laughing children inside, and you hear the sound of ecstatic people. So after the moment of, oh right, the doors have been pulled apart. Okay, there are people alive. So it didn't end poorly, at least not for everyone. You make your way inside of the monastery and you find everyone there. There seems to be a lot of children playing. You even hear one scream, "Why do I have to be the wolf again? I want to be the tree this time." "You can't be the tree, you're not tall enough." And just keep running in a random direction. You see a good number of peasants all gathered around this large tree sitting at the center of the yard, tending to a wound. There is a bit of sap seeping out of one of his arms. But as soon as you arrive close, you have one of the peasants just turn around, and usually you're the one that's in front audience, so it's probably you that the peasant turns around and "All right, you're the guys that went into the city. How was that?"
It was excellent. We were an avatar of the god to make sure he didn't enter this plane to wreak havoc on all of you. It seems our friend was able to protect you from some of his other avatars as well, which is excellent to see.
You hear someone go, "Protect us?" I'm gonna pray to him now. Forever.
I'm not going to mention to them that we didn't manage to save any prisoners.
You hear another one go, "That's an avatar." He points toward the tree. You didn't see the fight. Giants fighting. A wolf and a tree going at one another, tearing themselves apart, tearing the field apart. The tree won. The wolf just went poof, bursted in shadow. You hear another peasant go, "Stop trying to imitate bards. You're not as eloquent of them." Ugh. Just can't do.
I'll be like, you were doing a good job. Follow whatever dreams you want, good sir. If you want to be a bard, be a bard. Just don't tell the silver-haired one that. Be a bard.
He looks at Amyali. She's good too. They were here a little earlier. There were a few of them coming out of the mountain. It was impressive. But not as much as him. And he looks at the tree when he says that.
Alright, I'll kind of give a pat on the shoulder, like, we're glad you're happy, and then walk over to the tree. Or Turane,
Yeah.
Turane. There you go.
Alright, so while audience is going toward Turane, Jorg and Remy.
I think Remy would at least want to come and say hello to Turane.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think Jorg will follow them.
Alright, so you and the rest of the party, three of the four who help you go toward Turane. You have Amyali, Temptress, and also Darkahan, who follows you toward Turane. Kor just seems to be looking at everything else, and looking at the battlefield out there, looking at the tree. He's just doing his thing, assessing things.
He's like, maybe that would be a fun fight.
There's a good chance. There's a good chance that it crossed his mind. So, you arrive toward Turane. Your camera was just moving like this. That was interesting.
Oh yeah, it is. It is weird. Just why is it doing that?
I don't know.
Stop.
It was interesting. So, turns toward all of you as you arrive. So, how was your fight?
We were able to defeat the avatar of the hunter god. It was a tough fight, but we were victorious. And then I'll kind of give him a bow. And I'll be like, thank you so much for staying here to protect the people of the monastery in our stead. I heard you had a tough fight as well, and I'm very grateful for your assistance.
It was a mildly demanding fight. Small injuries, but still. I have fought stronger opponent and lived, but a less vigilant combatant might have found this quite a bit of a greater challenge. Nonetheless, interesting. He raises his arm, the one that's injured. It looks worse than it actually is.
Is there anything we can do to help, or?
If you have a little bit of healing ability, it might speed things up. Otherwise, it is not that severe.
I want to cast a level 3 cure wounds on him. I want to see what this does. Ooh, 11 health.
11.
You summon all the energy you can into a heal. You heal Turane. You see just a slight crack inside of his arm just go. Yes, it is something. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Poor Jorg.
Alright,
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie though. That says less about Jorg and more just PSA. That says more about how bad it is sometimes to upcast your lower level spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'll give.
I need to teach Jorg about the spell Aura Vitality at some point.
I just heard about that one. That one's pretty cool.
I'll drop a 15 of my lay on hands on turn A.
Okay. You see another crack just reform itself. Just a little bit of sap coming out of it, just drying up. Thank you. It will hasten things up. It's
This is when one of the 4 party members just like steps in, just heals with the rest of the way. We're just like,
well, there's one thing you do notice. There doesn't seem to be a healer in the group.
no, monk. What's it like? Monk, fighter.
Sort of a monk sorcerer vibe when you look at him.
Yeah, monk source. All right. Yeah, they don't need heals. Listen, if you just kill everyone before they hit you, you don't need to heal. Simple math.
Well, that
I know that.
might have been why I was injured. I reacted instead of acting. But that is the way of trees.
Well,
I died.
And George suddenly falls to the
I
ground
died.
crying, I died! Ah, a unique experience, I would imagine.
Yep. I don't really remember it. Felt just like being knocked out, I think.
You have Amiali that just arrives from behind you and put her arm around you and just says, "Don't worry, you'll get used to it." Not immediately, but eventually. You hear Core
I will.
add to this. Does that mean that you got used to it? Amiali answers, "No, that's why I said you'll get used to it." He goes away, and she gives you a wink. Don't worry about it. You have to handle them differently than the rest. That's all.
Yeah. I should be able to bring others back from the dead pretty soon. If I can figure out why this fucking...
Well, if I remember correctly, you need to pray for the spell, and you need a component for the spell. But seeing
Yeah.
how you healed your large tree friend, I think you have sufficient power to try it. You probably just need to make a few prayers in the morning, probably. You should really look into it.
Yeah.
And also finding diamonds of the appropriate value.
That one's gonna be the hard part, I think.
Audience and
the
Remy whistling in
expensive
the
part.
corner. We don't have diamonds right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, in any big city, you can find someone who's gonna at least sell you a gem. I'm pretty sure someone in the Autonel has what you need, if not the garden. Gnomes like playing with gems, not as much as Dragonborns, but they do like playing with gems quite a lot.
I'm sure in a pinch, Raimi may be willing to give up one of his.
Camera turns toward Remy.
The camera finds a disappeared body as he rolled a 23 to stealth away from the conversation.
Or maybe not.
Remy's like, if audience is dead, we'll see.
There's a pecking order that needs to.
Well, at any rate, I'm pretty sure you won't need to revivify anyone in the very near future. And I'm pretty sure that the other group coming in, I believe they're just day or two behind, will be able to get you back to the garden quite easily. Me and the others, we have another group to try and go rescue. I believe there is a...
I turned off my camera.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I don't know how comfortable to be with my magnificent body, but...
Okay, then audience picture.
Watching right now? I can drive up the numbers, Sam.
So, yeah, Neifa, pas Neifa, but Amiali was saying. Yeah, well, we have to find the other group. I believe they attacked one of the remaining position of the cult, and they would appreciate a little bit of help getting back with the rest of the group. So, as soon as we're sure that you're all settled up, we'll be leaving and trying to make sure that they find their way. I'm sure you can handle yourselves, and if you want, you can probably just take a little bit of rest, and in the morning, try and catch up with them. Instead of waiting 2 days, you might actually end up catching up with them at the end of the day. You hear Core going, "We're leaving tomorrow, unless they don't have anything to eat here." You hear Temptress just go, "Oh yes, stomach first, helping people later." You hear Darkeye, "Oh, if they were in actual danger, I'd disagree with that, but they're not, so at least we haven't heard anything from them saying that they were in danger. So we can
Cut
stay
to several kilometers away. Oh my god! Why aren't they here yet?
They're coming from the skies! So, we'll apparently be helping with a victory feast.
Oh, and Raimi at this point would have bugged one of the peasants about the box.
When you mention the box, you see the eyes of the peasant grow really, really large. You're crazy. No one should go in there. They told me what it tried to do. It's off limit now. And he walks away with fear in his eyes.
Jesus Christ.
Raimi will now specifically go to ask a child where the box is.
You catch one of the child running toward another one, screaming like a wolf, and you see another one running right behind him. You catch the child and you ask him, what exactly?
He's just going to minor illusion the box.
I don't know anything about a box. I didn't do it. Can I go back playing now?
So what's that, Raimi? Do you want it?
I'm not Raimi. I don't know any Raimi.
All right. Raimi is just going to deep sigh, and he's going to use his investigative skills to essentially find the place that everybody in the monastery is avoiding entirely.
All right, roll investigation.
It's like if people aren't going to tell him where this box is, apparently he has to find shit himself. So with my new boost to investigation, I now have a 24.
24. Well, that's nice. That's good. It doesn't take very long. After maybe 10 or 20 minutes, you sort of find a trail on the ground. It looks like a slug's trail. When you touch it, you realize that there's flour in this. You follow the trail and it suddenly enters the side of a wall where there's a hole that's about this big that's been burning through it. You just keep on following the wall and then you arrive in front of a door and you find Naifa there who's just going like this. Why do peasants keep doing this? The door is barricaded from the outside quite heavily. You have a peasant standing right next to the door saying, "Don't go in. It's gonna suck your soul out. It tried to suck mine." I got close to it. I tried to give it water, like she said. Then it opened its mouth and it started emitting sound and it was gonna eat my soul. I didn't do anything wrong.
Raimi's just going to blink at this man.
We were gonna wait until all of this is over and then we're gonna burn the room down. It's the only way you can deal with that.
Raimi's just going to look. Raimi's just going to look toward her.
She seems to be cultivating a nasty headache right now.
Exactly how well barricaded is this door?
With tools, it would probably take you a good 10 minutes to remove the planks and another 5 or 6 minutes to remove the chains, which have been added to the door.
Jesus Christ.
You just go get core to break down the door, probably.
That and the 5 rooms behind it.
With that, I guess Raimi is going to begin the slow process
Well, with audience's
of
help, it's probably gonna go faster.
The audience isn't there. You'd have to go
Okay.
get audience.
So you begin removing planks, one after the next. Jorg, are you with Remy or with audience?
I would have gone with Raimi, I think.
Well, didn't Remy
Something
stealth
good fit.
away? None of us knew where Remy went.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah, Raimi went and snuck up. So never mind. Yeah, still with audience.
Okay. So it takes a while. After a good 15 minutes, you sort of get the feel. Okay, arriving at the door, and then you see the chains, and there's a lock on it. I'm not gonna make you roll for that because it's a peasant lock. Your passive lock picking is gonna be enough. So it takes just maybe.
yes, the mage hand do it while he takes a drink of water.
Yeah, something like that. Then suddenly the lock unlocks, and then you pull the chain out, and you try and pull the door, and the door doesn't open. This is when you realize the hinges of the door, they've been chewed up by acid to the point of being fused.
Raimi is just gonna take. I think I still have.
The thing is,
Something.
when you look at the hinges of the door, you notice that it's only superficial on the outside. You get the feeling that the worst is inside. Essentially, someone welded the door shut from the inside using acid.
You know what? Because this might.
Oh, jeez. I think I know what you want to do.
All right, no. The first thing Raimi's going to do, just in case, because apparently this thing is screaming now. It's like he will take a moment to cast comprehend languages because he feels like might be a conversation happening, but he isn't sure.
Okay.
And I guess with that, Raimi is going to. He might end up breaking one of these for this. Like he's going to attempt to use one of his daggers to just essentially break the already weakened door hinge.
All right. Make an attack.
Oh no, actually no. I'll make this easier on myself. It's like Raimi will just attack it with a booming blade,
That's
or at least
that's
attempt.
that's what I thought you were gonna do.
Yeah, that seems easier than trying to make it an inevitable athletics roll.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna go to. Is it's gonna be an athletic. All right, so it just takes a few moments, and you sort of break the hinges of the door, and then the door becomes very loose. And then what?
So then he's going to now attempt to open it.
You push it slowly. It opens in a large block. You start seeing what's inside of the room. The first thing you notice is that there's a whole bunch of stuff that have been just thrown in the room. There are a few things on the floor. You see a chair. You see a barrel. You see several boxes. But as you look closer, you notice that some of them have been gathered up in a fort-like fashion.
Uh, like, are there any like because Raimi's starting to, I think, piece together what has happened here. Uh, Raimi, like, is there anything in the room that might be low enough, uh, that might be like, I guess small enough to be low to the ground, but also be able to like be filled with something?
It's a bit hard to tell. Since the room is so cluttered with stuff, you notice the one at the back of the room where stuff have been placed in a fort-like manner. Uh, and you even notice that some drape has been pulled as a minimal protection against something that would come from upward. But there seems to have been a very efficient attempt at blocking line of sight from the door specifically toward the center back of the room.
Okay. Uh, you know what? Raimi is going to.
Floor level center back of the room.
Since I think Fisher was doing this enough times for Raimi to catch on, Raimi is going to attempt to imitate uh, I guess what would have been the equivalent of the time for food knock with his mage hand.
Okay, make an intelligence roll, see if you remember which one it is, because he never said to you which one it was.
That's fair. That is fair. Which one are you? That is. Is that a 6? Yeah, that's a 6. That's going to be a 19.
Okay. You think you remember, and you tap. Takes a moment. And you see from behind the fortification at the back of the room, you see half of Terry appearing behind a box. Just sort of really in that sort of motion of.
So how big is this Terry right now?
Terry is roughly exactly the same size as he always was. Maybe there's a difference of half an inch, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. So it's just Raimi was just trying to gauge, like, okay, how much of this was done by a similarly sized Terry, or did he get bigger? Is basically what he was trying to confirm there. But I guess Raimi is going to, since this is kind of like his source of it, Raimi is going to pull out his decanter of endless water, and I think he still has a.
As you're doing this, you feel a smell spreading throughout the room. And this is not something you expected. You get, because your comprehend language spell is still working, words or other concept just slams into your mind as you feel the smell arriving. It's a very acidic smell, a bit similar to that of a skunk, actually. And the words are, I'm not gonna go down easy, killer of trees. You sort of get the feeling that Terry has learned to communicate through smell.
Raimi is just going to, like, he understands, but he's kind of like roll his eyes at that one. And uh uh I guess maybe the best way that Raimi is going to communicate this is just like after he has filled, like filled the decanter with string. He's just gonna kind of like standing where he is presently, like not moving any closer to Terry, but just kind of uh like tipping it over a little bit so that a little water pours out.
You see the water pool slowly toward center of the room and slightly to the side, and you see Terry just go out, just his head. Then you suddenly see this little stream of water starting to bend in an unnatural way and slowly being coaxed to go behind the boxes where he is. He's using his mage hand to basically put the hand where the water is going and force it to go where he wants to.
And then I guess Raimi, like, both confused and impressed by this development, he's going to continue to allow the decanter to exit water until basically Terry stops scooping it.
You see it does that for a while, and then suddenly you see a pint being put up on a box. Then a few moments ends, and then you see another pint being put on a box. You're not sure where he got that, but he seems to be filling pints after pints of water. After the fifth pint, the water starts going back in the direction that it was supposed to.
Right, in which case, like, I guess it would be around that point, just like Raimi would stop tipping it over and put the decanter away.
You feel the smell spreading to the room. And this is probably arriving at the end of your comprehend language spell, giving you a feeling of I'm confused.
And I guess in response, since Raimi's understanding of Terry up until this point, he's just going to do what he usually does, and he's going to make a rainbow.
There's no answer. It's really not impressive for him. Oh, good. There's energy coming from his hands. Then you remember, he doesn't see colors.
Well, to be fair, he didn't know that before. Technically.
Well, you've seen, I believe it's day 1 through 10, and you know that he can't see, but he can perceive energy.
Well, yeah, but counter argument, colors, the different colors that we see are different levels of electromagnetic energy.
In that case,
So
in your case, it's
depending
illusion. He just doesn't react a lot. He just feels unimpressed by this rainbow.
And just Raimi doing his typical greeting slash salutation slash goodbye. Just like Raimi will just like then just start walking out of the room and then just give is she still standing out there?
Yeah. Yeah, she's still standing out there. Aren't you at least gonna take him back? I mean, you have 3 friends with you. I'm sure the people in here will appreciate very much not having him anymore.
I guess Raimi will like did he even see Terry's box when
There's
as
too
he was
many
in
of them.
there?
You'd have to go to the back of the room. But Terry wasn't in his box when he just did that. There's no opening on the side of his box.
Well then,
And
I guess
judging from what you saw, he bore a hole through a wall and went to get food himself.
that tracks. But yeah, I guess Raimi will, perhaps at his own peril.
All right. Well, that feels like an interesting moment to end the this episode with Remy just stealing himself and going inside the room to see if he can't get Terry inside of a box. Entering into the dimly lit room. You see, we end with Nafa just going, "Oh, this is getting to be so much more difficult than it should." And then Remy slowly making its way inside the room. I think that's an interesting moment where we can stop. Next episode, hopefully, we'll have a full group and audience will be able to join us with the camera. Because I believe it was a roommate problem that forced us to close his camera. But I believe he's still there.
I am. I'm here.
Okay. So, yeah. Well, I was hoping that the Terry bit was gonna resolve faster, but as always, that's on me. It would have been faster if Jorg had decided to join Remy, you know. But stop being traumatized because you died. Come on. Get over it. So, we're going to end the episode here for tonight. It's an interesting place to go back to when we come back. We're gonna go back to audience and Jorg and know what they were doing while all of this was happening, and then there's gonna be a feast. What better way to end a chapter than with a feast? You know, and then the group is gonna make its way back out, one way or the other. Either doing the emergency thing and teleporting out, or rejoining with the rest of the adventurers and taking Sarn as a way out, because he can easily do that. Or they're just gonna walk out the mountains on their own, taking a whole week to walk through rocks and villages, and who knows? Probably gonna be one of those 3, but they might come up with another answer. You never know. All right. Well, I hope you had a pleasant evening. It was awesome to see people talk in the chat. Thank you very much, AdamOS. So it's always cool to see people talk in the chat. Thank you for being there tonight. And that's it for tonight. As always, if you enjoyed the show, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also become a Patreon. You can make a donation, because money is always nice to receive. And you can also support us by subscribing to the channel. That also gives me money, and soon there's gonna be things added that you'll get if you become members. Eventually I will have those emotes, and if I can have a less stressful week, probably gonna try and work on those small animations for when you become followers or subscribers. The whole thing. So, and you get to see them if you follow us or become subscriber. That's always fun, even with bits. And of course, you can always help us by spreading the word of this wonderful channel, and also spreading the word that if you missed the episode tonight, there's a rebroadcast on Friday. So it's not too late. It's just a little bit earlier if you're in the West. It's more of a Eastern comfortable time to watch this. But that's about it. Thank you all for watching. As always, stay safe, and during this really long pandemic that we all thought it would have ended by now, but is still going on, stay healthy. Good night, everyone.
Jenny.
Alright.
Good night.
Exactly.